Hey everybody, it's Steamboat. Welcome to the latest edition of Gearbox Review. Today on the review we're going to be talking about socks. Yep, socks. Darn Toughs. And today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I like to use Darn Toughs when I go hiking. So stick around. Now the first reason that I like to use Darn Toughs is because of their consistency. So Darn Toughs are made in the US, they're made in Vermont, and I can tell they spend a lot of time really trying to live up to their name. I've been using these socks for about 4 years. I started getting into Darn Toughs in 2016 while I was doing some preliminary research before my first long hike on the PCT. And over the past 4 years, I've just found that they're always comfortable. And regardless if I get them at my local outfitter or if I'm ordering them online, there's a consistency across their product line. And they're always showing up and make my feet happy. Can't beat that. All right, the second reason that I like to use Darn Toughs is because of its quality. And by quality, I just mean that you can basically wear these pairs of socks out until you need to replace them, and then you're still able to get some more miles out. So that's what I really like about it. When it comes to quality, it's hard to say exactly how long these socks are going to last you for. The best way that I can kind of compare that is if you're going to go get a new pair of tires, and you want to know how long is that pair of tires going to last you. Well, I guess like the real question is what type of driving do you intend to do? So it's going to be the same when it comes to your footwear. The types of hiking, the type of environment is really going to determine, how long some of these products are going to last. So when it comes to socks, I use 2 pairs of socks on the Colorado Trail. It's a little bit damp, it's a little bit dirty, not as dirty as the PCT, not as damp as the AT. So just depending on the types of environmental conditions that you're in is going to just, affect the lifespan of your socks when it comes down to it. Now the third reason that I like to use Darn Tough socks is because of its comfort over time. So these are brand new. They're merino wool. Don't be discouraged by the wool sock. Merino is like a nice brushed wool. It's nice and soft. It's not like that itchy, what you'd normally associate with kind of like a knit wool. So when these are brand new, they've got, like a really nice soft texture to them. They're like equivalent to it feels like almost like a cotton. And even though they're wool, they never really get too hot. What's nice about merino is that it's able to thermoregulate. It does help to wick moisture away from the skin, and it does have natural antimicrobial properties, which is really great for a sock if you're through hiking, because you don't get a chance to wash them too often. And about that, when you're wearing dirty socks, these are actually, I find them to be more comfortable the more dirty they are. So you kind of got to break them in a little bit. This isn't just me, it's just like, I've talked to other hikers about this too. That, when you get your new socks, it's just like they can feel kind of a little strange, once you start to really embed some of that dirt into the fibers and really get a nice crust on them, it's just like even if you're trying to pre-rinse them before you're throwing them into a laundry machine at the hostel, they're never going to get completely clean. And that's actually what I find to be more comfortable. It's just like they have a better grip inside of the shoe, and not to say that there's nothing wrong with good clean socks, but when you're out there just crushing miles, just like having that second skin sock feeling is something that's really good. And Darn Tough is able to perform really well, even when they're the most filthy. Now the fourth reason that I like to use Darn Tough socks is because of all of its variety. So if you go ahead and check out the online catalog, you can just see how much they have to offer. They've got everything that you need, depending on your style, from below the ankle no-show socks to full-length shin socks, if that's your thing. So the way that Darn Tough normally classifies their socks is going to be kind of like in 3 ways. The first little thing is going to be the length of the sock, so micro crew. And then the second one's going to be the weight of the sock, so a mid-weight, a lightweight, and then the last part is going to be a cushion. And that's really just referring to the things that are on the, on the bottom of the foot and how much cushion that you're going to have when you're impacting onto the ground. And with the variety, you really can't go wrong. There have been times that I've gone into a local outfitter, or I've had to replace my socks online, and I've gotten the wrong thing, I guess, for lack of a better term, but just not what I really intended to. I didn't replace the sock with the exact same sock, and it's always kind of been okay. It's just like with the consistency and the quality and the comfort, across the variety through all the product line, I think with Darn Tough socks, you really can't go wrong. Now, the last reason that I like to use Darn Tough socks is because Darn Toughs are guaranteed for life. So let's be honest with ourselves. Going hiking can be a really expensive hobby. Between outfitting ourselves, just maintaining the gear, and making sure that everything remains functional, it can add up and get really expensive. So these socks are not going to be any exception. A pair of socks, can be between $20 and $25. And when you kind of think about it, spending that type of money for a single pair of socks is expensive. It is. But kind of, consider that they are guaranteed for life, and that you can always return them to Darn Tough to replace those socks. It can actually really be worth it. And just some tips on when it comes to replacing these sorts of things, do not expect to be able to walk into just any random outfitter and just say hey, I've got these Darn Tough socks, can I get some new ones? It may have been like a practice that they did in the past where you just be able to go into just like any authorized dealer to be able to make these exchanges. But I guess like the logistics that the businesses have to do coordinating with Darn Tough to be able to get compensated for when they're taking in people's old socks. It's just a practice that I guess has become more complicated, and a lot of outfitters aren't willing to do it any longer. So there may be some that, here and there you might be able to ask, but if you do ask anybody like, hey, can I exchange my socks? Like, don't be surprised if they're like really kind of upset when you ask that question. That's just been my experience anyway. What I would recommend when it does come to replacing these is that you buy 4 pairs of socks, take 2 pairs of socks with you that you're going to be wearing, have a third pair that you're just going to be wearing for nighttime, so 3 in total, but just 2 dedicated hiking socks. And then leave 2 pairs of socks with maybe a resupply person if you have that support, or just be able to send those ahead to yourself. So on average, I'd say maybe about 500 miles, give or take, just depending, again, on the conditions that you're going to be hiking in, but maybe kind of plan for that. So what I'd recommend you doing is take 2 pairs of socks, you can just wear those out, and then approximately 500 miles up trail, just have those other socks waiting for you. What you'll need to do is just take these and put them into like maybe a flat rate envelope. You'll have to pay for your own postage. Darn Tough will not pay for postage to receive. So take those 2 socks and be able to send those out, and then you'll have the socks waiting for you at your resupply. They'll issue a redemption coupon, and it really doesn't take that long. In my experience, it's been like no more than 2 weeks. Will they be able to receive those socks? Just make sure that that they weren't like chewed on by an animal, and it was actually because of use that they have failed, and not because of some accident, like they caught on fire or something like that. They may not replace them if you burn them in a. They probably won't replace them if you burn them in a campfire, which I've seen. So, be careful on that. And then once they're able to inspect the socks, then they'll issue just a redemption coupon, and it's just a little code that you're able to put that in when you're checking out online. And then once you do that, then you can send those other socks ahead to you on trail, and then just being able to recycle and supply yourself socks as you're going. I find this to be the most useful and the most helpful for myself because sometimes those outfitters may not have like your sizes, or they may not have the style that you're looking for. And so this is just like a really effective way to take advantage not only of a return policy, but then also a sort of like self-resupply to make sure that you always have the gear that you need when you need it. So there we go. Those are the 5 reasons that I like to wear Darn Tough socks. Between the consistency, its quality, comfort, variety, and an unbeatable exchange program. As long as I'm out there hiking, I think I'm going to be outfitting my feet in some Darn Tough socks. Full disclosure, this isn't a promo or anything. I'm just doing this for fun, trying to put some info out there. So if you found this to be helpful, educational, or humorous in any way, just go ahead and give this video a like. Drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel so you can stay adrift of any upcoming gear reviews. Yeah, that simple engagement can actually help to promote my content in the algorithm, so I do appreciate it. And as always, stay adrift.